is Christopher Boy, or Jim Akers, Jim Akers, I think I can that wasn't him. So, in these room, it starts out in a plane with this girl and either her father or grandfather back in that, but final on, the area we find over is very. Well, this is Troy Taylor, and we're back for another installment in the American Hauntings videos. This time we decided to take you out on location and take you to the Avon Theater in Decatur, Illinois. The Avon is, I believe, one of the most haunted places anywhere in downstate Illinois. There aren't a lot of places that I will come right out and say is haunted. I hear stories from people, oftentimes I'll say, well, it's alleged to be haunted or reputed to be haunted, but the Avon is a place that I truly believe is haunted because, well, I came face to face with one of the ghosts here myself. And we'll get to that story in a minute. I should tell you a little bit about the Avon Theater. It was built back in 1916 when the idea of a grand movie house was thought to be kind of a silly idea. Movies were really just going to be a passing fad back then, and nobody thought that any theater like this would really be built to last. About $40,000 was spent in the construction of the building back in 1916, which was, as you can imagine, a pretty huge amount of money. And it opened up at first to great success, but it didn't last for long. The original owner just never really could get the place to work. But a few years later, it was taken over by some Greek immigrant brothers named Constantopoulos. They had actually owned a candy store at the theater across the street from the Avon, and they decided when the opportunity arose to buy the Avon and open it back up. Now, Gus Constantopoulos was the brother who managed and really owned the theater. He was here pretty much all the time, and when he died in 1965, well, let's just say Gus never left. Because the stories began to circulate that he was still here in his beloved theater, haunting the place. His ghost was seen often in the balcony of the theater, and probably most commonly in the hallway up above the lobby. Well, it was in that hallway that a few years ago I had my own face-to-face encounter with Gus Constantopoulos. I was working in my office one day and happened to look up, and let's just say I got quite a surprise. Back in 2006, this was my office here at the Avon. I had worked here off and on throughout the years and have always been kind of involved with the theater. But I happened to be here one afternoon. I was in the theater by myself, or so I thought at the time. I was actually sitting at my desk talking to a friend of mine on the phone when I happened to look up and saw someone standing in the doorway to the office. Pretty much right here in the doorway to a room. Tall man, balding, wearing glasses. As he was standing here, he looked into the room, and then he turned and walked on down the hall. Well, I had thought I was in the building by myself, for starters, but that wasn't the weirdest part. The weirdest part is I recognized the man. It was Gus Constantopoulos. Apparently, he does still haunt this building. Well, at that point, I got up and came out to the hallway to take a look to see where this man had gone. There was nobody in the hall. Well, still not convinced that I'd seen what I'd really seen, I went on down to each of the rooms in the hall to look inside. There was nobody there. The door to the hallway was locked. So whoever it was had just simply disappeared. Well, I came back to the office and I picked up the phone and I told my friend what had happened. And she said, "Oh my God, well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, actually, I've already done it." Because when I came back into the room, I closed and locked the door. Sometimes you go hunt these stories down and you find them whether you want to or not. Anyway, so that's my own personal encounter from the Avon Theater. But it's a place you can experience for yourself. I mean, it's our starting spot for the Haunted Decatur tour. So come down this spring or the summer or the fall, take one of the tours, or maybe come for the conference this summer. See the Avon Theater for yourself. It is a place where the history of the past truly does come alive, and it is, again, one of my favorite haunted spots. So I'm Troy Taylor, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.